Hey, it's Kellen, and today you guys are going to get some game all the way from Senegal. I have the owner, the founder, the guy that you want to know if you want to invest in Senegal, the Gambia, and possibly the whole continent. He could help you with his Investors Club, Made in Africa project. You can see that all the links in the description box. I have King RJ Mahdi. How you doing, brother?
Bless, man. Thanks. Good to be on with you again. How's everything on that end?
Man, it's all beautiful. It's all beautiful. Cannot wait to see Africa again. Cannot wait to see the sun again. I'm in Seattle, Washington right now.
Man, I'm sure you're missing it out there.
Yes. I went home to California and I was like, oh, the sun feels so good. But you got the sun all day, every day, and
Always.
Always, man. Tell folks about the the Made in Africa project, because it's very unique to have an investors club, and a lot of folks want to follow what you're doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Made in Africa project. We're here for the connection of the diaspora with the continent, helping members of the diaspora to shop with, visit, invest in, and relocate to the continent. And so over the last 6 years, we've been here in Senegal, West Africa, as a primary, or first line of contact for pretty much everybody coming through this region. Whether they're looking to come here and invest in property and land, or if they're looking to come here and tour and do, educational trips, shopping trips, investment trips, etc. Or if they're actually coming down here for, other purposes, or to relocate, like they want to live here. You want to get your apartments, your condos, your vacation houses, etc. We've helped dozens and dozens of members of the African diaspora to get connected here on the ground. And in doing so, we've created sort of a whirlwind, if you will, of attention towards the continent, to where our media platforms are spinning to millions of people a week, and we're pumping out content that's saying Africa is for Africans, come home. And so that's generated a considerable amount of interest. Like, folks are like, what's up with that? Africa's for Africans, come home. Does that include me too? Or how can I do that? Or, who should I contact, or where should I start? And so that's where we come in. Not only are we putting the word out, but we're also helping those folks to get engaged as well. And so that's what, that's the actual mission, is to help our brothers and sisters get engaged.
And folks, if you haven't seen an RJ Mahdi interview, I want you to go back. We've had him on as a guest. The African diaspora has had him on as a guest. Many YouTubers have had him on as a guest, and a lot of folks have heard his message. And I've gotten the calls, oh, I want to do something like that. I want to do something like that. But it takes real tenacity to be able to go to a foreign country and do something like that and be consistent. And I have not heard anybody say, you haven't been consistent. You are as consistent as the way you change up your outfits every time we see you. And, and I know I get on you with that, but I had to make sure. I said, hold on, let me make sure. What's in this closet? Let me see have I worn this? But
that's what's up, man.
Yeah, but being consistent, how difficult has that been for you, or how easy has that been for you, and how has the your business grown, within the last year?
Well, what they say is that in order to be successful in business in Africa, what you need to do first is solve a problem, create a solution to something, and from the jump, that's what our business has been focused on. So the consistency really just lies in that specific principle. It's solve a problem. When we got here, we saw things that were lacking. We saw industries that were suffering because they didn't have a specific amount of resources being put into them. We saw creative individuals making products and things that they weren't able to sell abroad, etc. And so solving that problem, or those problems, is what has kept us consistent. And so, here we are 6 years later. Consistent clients are coming to us for their, we literally just left the post office not even an hour ago, dropped off a couple wholesale bundles that we're sending to Boston, Canada, another one, I think, to California. These are folks who are consistently coming to us because we've been here, we've been, stationary on the ground. We're not back and forth. We're not all over the place. We're not, spreading ourselves too thin. We're focusing on the things that people need and the services that people need, and we're providing them consistently. And so, we really thank our brothers and sisters who trust us with their investments, who trust us with their projects and with their, time and energy. And so, we continue to bring the solutions out.
And you just said something that I've had a issue. So I have a children's book, right? And I'd like to send you one if it will get to you, because the post office that I use, it's a local family-owned post office. And when sending things to Africa, they're like, you sure it's going to get there? Sure it's going to get there? Sure you don't want a DHL? And to be honest with you, I mean, I've sent books, simple books, and they haven't got to, certain places, like even South Africa, in the most poshest neighborhoods. So when you're sending mail out like that, are you always using DHL, or how do you make sure your packages go out and that they're received?
No, we only work with the National Postal Service of Senegal. Part of our purpose in being here is to patronize local businesses, to patronize businesses that impact the infrastructure here on the ground. And businesses that, obviously build the development of the country. And so the National Postal Service is an administration of the Senegalese government. We have a long-standing partnership with them for logistics and shipping. So we ship straight through La Poste, which is Group La Poste Senegal. Very effective shipping. We got shipping to pretty much anywhere in the U.S. and Canada, in anywhere from about 14 days. So about 2 weeks it would take to get you, a little longer than DHL. But you're saving on cost, and you're giving that money again to the development of a country, not to, another company that's based in, somewhere else, right? So we want to continue to patronize these businesses locally, and that's what we do.
Okay, so you're saving money, which is a key thing, because, I mean, even sending electronics to Africa can be kind of, it can be costly, but a lot of times in certain countries, it costs more for them to, bribe it out. I mean, pay the toll for it to come out, the custom toll. So that's a good thing. And I want you to send me your address, because I want to send you the book. I'll send it in English or in French. You tell me which one you want it in. Because this brother is multi-talented. His Wolof is on point, and I'm sure by now he can comprehend French, because he doesn't want to miss out on a deal, whatnot. So how's your French going?
Yeah, it's coming along, man. We try to keep it, try to keep learning and keep building. It's never a point where we feel like we got it all. So yeah, it's coming along though.
Okay. Yeah. And I every time I talk with you, I'm gonna mention the clothing. But how does your clothing game, because people ask me this question, but I do this only when in Africa. But since you're in Africa, I really think it's like you're buying a shirt a day, and it looks like it's custom fit, it's custom made. I'm buying off the street. I'll be honest. Hey, that fits me. It's good to stay this size. But how do you go about buying your clothes?
Well, we have a partnership with one of the largest production houses here in Senegal. And so the production facility that we work with, manage out of, actually has over 500 tailors, stocks more than 100,000 products. And we've got, custom whatever we want, available at our fingertips. And because of the relationship that we have there, and because we export so many goods locally, we've got a good relationship there to be able to, get great custom stuff for ourselves. And, we have to stand on what we support and what we believe in. Right, we can't be the number one diaspora export company on the ground here, shipping out local products and not actually wearing local products, right? So, again, it's all based in the mission. We're committed to bridging the gap, supporting local economics, creating resources for local business owners that includes connecting them with the diaspora and folks abroad. And so, you know, wearing these products makes us feel good, man. We feel like we're actually supporting the right team. We know folks who go out and spend, you know, enormous, absorbent amount of money on Versace and Balenciaga and, you know, all of these different brands, right? We're seeing Fendi and Gucci and everybody else, right? But we can have, you know, threads that are just as nice, just as sharp, just as tailored, right here on the ground. And that's what we choose to support.
Okay. And do you ever feel pressure that, I mean, you know, you are in the public eye, you're doing business to kind of keep up? Because in America, you know, you've lived from Philly to Atlanta and beyond, that there's sometimes, even to go to church, Black folks sometimes feel pressure to be like, man, I got to stay fly. You know what I mean? And I don't want someone to catch me slipping.
I mean, you know, it's not really, I wouldn't say pressure. If anything, you know, we're motivated. We're motivated to always, you know, continue the influence of, you know, spreading African culture around. We're motivated, you know. So I think more so, if anything, the pressure is, you know, not wearing the same thing twice.
and we haven't caught you. Nope. Yeah. We haven't caught you doing that. You know, with that though, for some reason, I see you in the near future coming out with like a record label. And you might, you know, I just see that like, man, when is this brother going to come out and say, hey, I got this music, that music, I'm going to collab and connect them with, you know, this rapper over here, or this singer over here. Is music at all your interest?
I mean, you know, been there, done that.
Okay.
I come from a music background. You know, that was one of my lifetimes before getting here. You know, I've had record deals. I've produced and recorded music. I've toured and performed. I've been a part of, you know, a lot of music endeavors over the years. We get a lot of offers from folks here who would like us to, you know, include their musical projects in what we do, and we do. You know, I work with artists. Even some of our episodes of Africa is for Africans, we put independent artists, music and background music in there. And then with Africa Day coming up, we're working to put a lot of independent artists on stage and give them a platform to stand on. So, you know, it's always been a part of what I do. I believe in music and creative art, and we continue to support it.
Yeah. Okay. And sometimes, you know, I do read minds and I do research, but it's really a gift to be able to pull something like that, because you that's something RJ is just not going to tell you, nor has he gone out and told anybody else about, you know, his musical things that he's done. But even like music in movies, I'm finding that the continent always wants to connect to, you know, America, where I just came back from a big TV conference in Miami. And one of the guys in Kenya that we met, he was like, hey, I'm doing this. I'm like, yo, what do you want for this? And he's like, could I maybe get $100,000? And I'm like, bruh, go protect your work. You got bombs and everything going off on this thing. Yeah, you can get 100,000 if they really want it. If not, you know, we can work with you to show you how to get your own 100,000, because, you know, straight to consumer is a beautiful thing. But yeah, I'd love to see that, because these arts are, I mean, we run this in the creative arts. Whatever we put out, you know, folks dig it. So, you know, but the reason why I love having you on, because I feel the spirit. You're not one of these YouTubers who's, you know, ever online complaining about women. And we're going to talk about that in a second. You don't have a woman problem, but those who may have a woman problem or choose to be single, they, you know, sometimes they're like, man, what is RJ really doing? You know, I've heard that in the Black YouTube streets, and I'm like, the brother's working, but what does he really do? And I'm like, you know, listen to his interviews, because I can't even tell you what I really do. It changes every day. You know, we're creative.
We do whatever's necessary. I mean, that's the kind of time it is right now. We're not really in a time where we just pick one thing and that's all we focus on, or we're stingy with our craft. Nah, man, we do whatever's necessary, whatever's needed, man, wherever we need it at.
Yeah, I mean, you're a king consultant over there, and just creating businesses. When you create these businesses for clients, do you ever find the need and the opportunity to like get a piece of what they're doing? So if they join the Investors Club, and they say, I want to do this, but I really need someone to manage it. Do you find yourself maybe having like 7 businesses that you might have got by default because they needed you?
Well, I mean, but we definitely take a percentage of any projects that we broker. Doesn't necessarily mean that it makes us an owner, right? But we have a percentage, obviously, for a management position, whatever it is that we do for that specific project. All projects are different, so some, we may just turn over to the person if it's not something that we're needed on or will be needed for in the future. But those ones that we do have to manage ongoing, I mean, it becomes additional. It becomes an additional source and revenue for the continuance of the mission. I think one thing that we have to get out of our head is that those who lead us should be broken without. And a lot of times, that's kind of the mentality, especially in the Black community. As soon as we see someone who's doing something for the community or for the betterment of our people, and we see them start making money, it's like, oh, he's not really for the people, he's for his money. But you wouldn't follow me if I was broke and borrowing money, right? So yeah. We got to create sustainable modes of income, and we have to do that through effective business, effective partnering with each other. We can still stay true to the mission by supporting one another, supporting Black businesses, not giving that business to outsiders or people who don't have our best interest in heart. But we should definitely be focusing on economics. You can't change anything in this world if you don't have economics. If you think you can vote away the kind of problems that we have, you got another one coming. If you think you can just sit and pray away the problems that we have, you got another one coming. If you think that you can just talk and stand up and march and protest away the problems that we have in this world, you got another one coming. We got to build economics. We got to build them fast. We got to build sustainability. We got to create real programs that we know will carry us into the future and carry us through these challenges. Because, when it's all said and done, I mean, the victor is going to be the one who, has built the empire. And that's just the way it goes.
Yes, and I like to put that out there because as consultants, sometimes people think, you are only there for a limited time or that your value is only worth the connection. And it's really the connection and the massaging and nurturing of the relationship, and that you should reap the benefits of that,
Of course. I mean, there's a lot of ongoing work. It's not, these kind of projects are not the kind of projects where somebody just introduces you to a connection and then boom, you're in the game, you're in business. Nah, it's not like that. These things take ongoing massaging. They take ongoing meetings. They take sometimes road trips. This is Africa, man. Everybody's not with the call me and let's get it done on the phone. Heck no. Everybody's not on that. Send me an email and I'll sign it online. Nah, man. They like, come see me. Come to my office. Come on, drive down. Let's sit down. Let's talk. Let's have tea. Let's have coffee. Look me in my face and let's close this deal. And when you're in an environment like that, that means that there's, needs that are happening ongoing. And so, the percentages that we take, cover those kind of expenses. And, a lot of times we go above and beyond even what, that percentage covers, to be perfectly honest. We most of the time we do more than, what's paid for because we know the challenges that we face. A lot of times there are things here on the ground that, you guys never see us go through. But we continue to make it happen. We stay optimistic. We, take the sacrifice. We take it on the cheek and we keep pushing so that our people can advance.
And that's why the reality show it needs to be out there. I mean, if Comcast and other those were smart, they'd be knocking down your door saying, how many cameras do we need to send? What do we need to do? Because it's a real reality show of trying to do business in a,
serious.
Yeah, another country. I don't like to say anything foreign because there's certain places I feel more at home than in America. And you know what? the reason why it's important to highlight and congratulate you on what you're doing, because there's others like YouTubers. We've had the Nomad Capitalist on, and he deals with 7 and 8 figure entrepreneurs, but he's like, Africa, it's not a natural fit for him. He's not Black. And he's like, there's a different feel, and he likes Africa. He's like, but to do investment, he hasn't found a government that he prefers, but he really dislikes America. He gave up his citizenship, and more people are saying, I'm tired of dealing with this. They don't care if it's Trump. They don't care if it's Kim Kardashian. They're just tired of the hustle, the bustle. So what you're doing, I know it's just going to grow. And, business is not easy, but what really isn't easy sometimes is marriage. And you decided recently to get another wife, which I tell you, I don't know how many WhatsApp messages I got on that. Hey, what is this brother doing? Did he find a village girl? And then, those same people, he got an American. How did he get another American to agree to that? Because I would, like, come on now. So can you please, because marriage can be like a business. Can you please talk about how you do that and how many wives are you going to be able to handle? Because I know my one is enough for now.
Yes, I mean, again, it's levels. And, a few years back, especially the time that I first got married to my first wife, I had no intentions of taking that step. But, sometimes you see the benefit in things, despite what your original plan or preference was. And so, fast forward to now, my newest wife, Maya, is a good friend of mine, a good friend of Aaliyah, my first wife. They're friends. We've known each other over 10 years. We work together in multiple capacities. We see eye to eye on a lot of things when it comes to building, a sustainable, empire for our families and for our communities. And I think that, like you say, marriage is sort of a business. And so, just like in business, you find a partner that you can collaborate well with. You find a partner who you can, have a mutual respect and a mutual honor for. I think it's the same in marriage. And so, being, a Muslim and it being a part of our faith to, take more than one wife, I think that it became a time when it was necessary. And it helps. It helps a lot. It helps with the mission at hand. It helps us to be able to share in the responsibilities and to, boost and uplift each other and, provide that, that stronger foundation. And so, I thank both of my wives for, the support that they contribute to this ongoing mission. We're all here for it, and we all, look forward to building together. And as far as it stands now, it will only be 2. So, no additionals in the foreseeable future. So, yeah.
Okay, and not a easy task like running multiple business, but you have to learn how to, how to deal with that. And I think that gets such a bad rap in the community now because, it's foreign here. But when we see other folks, I'll call them influencers, but they might have 4 beautiful wives and they are, it's all over the place. You know what I mean? And they're talking about this one day, they're talking about that the other day. And then you see other influencers in the jungle with so-called wives that they have. And it's like, are these women kidnapped? Are they even of age? And people just put that in, not understanding that this is older than any of us. I mean, my father-in-law, his dad had over 40 wives. There's hundreds of children. I can't say that it's always the greatest story because, you have to hear it from all angles. But I just wanted to clear that up for anybody else who might have thought you went to Africa, found a village girl, and were taking advantage. Because that's a big thing that I've seen, that there's this elitism coming from certain Black Americans that when they come to Africa, they feel like they're going to teach Africans something, and they don't even know the language.
On the contrary, what we do is we come here and we learn from our continent. We have a lot to give as well. But, there's an exchange. And I think, if anything, the best way to explain that exchange is that the continent offers us the spiritual and traditional contributions. Like, that's what it offers us, the spiritual and the traditional, whereas we offer the continent the economic and, perhaps the, technological, right? So that it's an even exchange because we each need the other. But coming here, one thing that we have to always keep in mind is to come with an open heart and an open mind to be able to allow the spiritual and the traditional to influence you. A lot of times we put our guards up. We don't want to let certain things in. I don't want that in my life. I don't even want to hear about it. No, I don't believe in it. I don't want it, right? But a lot of times, it holds certain benefits for us. So, for those coming home, allow yourself to understand the reasons why things are done, right? Don't just take things at first sight. Not everything is about cosmetics. Not everything's about how it looks or how it sounds. But take some time to really understand, why do families prefer poly relationships? When you're here in Senegal, you look at, maybe 65% of married couples here are in polygamous relationships. The families are closer. They're more tightly knit. They know their history. They know the stories of their fathers and grandfathers and great-grandfathers, etc. The children, you don't even see daycares. They don't exist here. There's no daycares. It's not needed. It's not necessary. There aren't any, single parents, etc., or working parents who have to leave their children somewhere every day. Here, somebody else in the family keeps them, the auntie, the uncle, the co-wife, right? And then these things help households to move and function better. It helps people to stay closer knit to their community, so everybody's not spread out and on their own like we are in America, right? Sometimes we move out of our parents' house, we're out of state within a year. We're in a whole nother city where nobody knows us, nobody can help us, nobody's protecting us, nobody's looking out for us. And so we add additional stresses to our lives, right? Now you got to go and pay somebody to watch your kids. Whereas if you were in a tight-knit community, you have a family member do it. All right. So these are the things that we try to allow into our daily lives and traditional outlook so that we can improve our lifestyle. We didn't just come here just to make money or just to be the best YouTubers, right? We came here to improve our lifestyle and build a family in the way that our ancestors and traditional, families prefer.
And did you get back home any pushback from family members who might not have known that you were going to do that? And what are you doing? Nah. My family is very familiar with it. I grew up in Islam. Poly's been a part of my family for years. I've got 2 siblings who are in poly relationships for years before me. So it's not really, yeah. Okay, man. When you write your book, man, I just want to know so I can get the one of the first copies because you have so much to write on. When is it coming out?
Man, I'll make sure you be the first to know.
I know you have something jotted down on one of these, these things. We're gonna put it on the computer because it's a story, and you have so many stories, but you have one on the relocation, you have one on business. When have you been jotting seriously?
Yeah, there's something in the works.
Okay.
We'll definitely make that available once it's prepared.
Okay, because who else? I can count the folks I know who do international trips that do YouTube that have books based on that, and it's like a guide. And I love books. It's not today's money; it's next week's money. I call it because it's the royalty money that comes in. You're like, oh, I forgot I wrote that. I'm working on something else. It's just like music.
That's right. Yeah, man. It's in the pipeline.
Okay, okay. When you said it was no daycares, I thought about when I had daycare, how much money until I said, you know what, we got to stop this,
Man,
and things got to change. And no daycares threw me back.
ain't no
Like,
daycares here, man. We don't even see that. That's not even a thing. It's not
what
even a thing.
What do you think is needed in Senegal? Because, folks importing cars and farming and all that, those are great things. But what else do you see? What skills do people need to come with that, you're like, I wish I had this?
Um, You know what's funny is a lot of those things are popping up every day, man. You know, over the years, there have been a lot of things that we sat back and was like, man, why isn't this here? Life would be a lot easier if this was available. But we starting to see those things pop up every day. I mean, we sounded the alarm on this thing 4, 5, 6 years ago. People took heed, and whether they, made a big deal about it or publicized it or put it out there for people to see or understand, people took heed. And so a lot of those things are coming here now. We've got a lot of, grocery stores and home goods stores and fast foods and, all these different types of, amenities, nicer hotels, nicer car rentals, nicer, everything. Really, the roads are getting nicer. The airport's brand new, right? The facilities are becoming a standard that we, can stand by. And so, at this point, I mean, I really couldn't say, man. I mean, I think if anything, it's probably some of the more tech type programs that are now available in the States. Things like your Uber Eats, and these kind of really tech based applications and whatnot. I think that's probably where the shift is now going. And so here, being that Senegal is just kind of catching up in the tech race. I can see over the next year or so a lot of those things starting to explode into this market. So, I mean, we're not even really sweating it. I'm confident that whatever you guys are enjoying over there, we will have it here in due time.
Okay, you said fast food. I hope it's healthier and not like the chains that we have here that
Of course.
literally give you a heart attack, and
Of course.
have you obese. Because we've seen in the Middle East, in a
Mm-hmm.
surge in the fast food, and the folks are getting fatter, and folks are loving
Mm-hmm.
Domino's. And you're like, of all things, of all pizza,
Mm-hmm.
Domino's. Come on,
we,
man.
we just got our first 2 KFCs here, and everybody's crazy about them. But the good thing is, it's local farm raised chicken. It's a black owned poultry company that's supplying them. It's all halal. So it has the advantages. Same recipe, right? But a little better meat, a little better quality. So I ate there once, right? It's not really my thing. I didn't even eat KFC in America.
Mm-hmm.
But just to see that those kind of things are becoming available, it provides an added comfort, especially for people coming from places where they have those more available. Sometimes you want that, you need that, and it's good to have it there when you want it.
And Senegal is one of those cities. My wife had lived there for a short time, and she said the customer service is just so night and day compared to Cameroon. How is in healthcare? Does the service, is it quick, expedient? Like, how does that work? If I remember my child getting sick in Cameroon and almost having to flip out and start my baton of command was about to get busy, whatnot. But how is it there when you really need help? Because those are things that people get nervous. Like, if I get sick, is it going
Mm-hmm.
to be this type of standards that I'm used to?
Yeah, so I mean, the healthcare system is probably one of the industries that could use improvement the most, especially here. I think a lot of the traditional communities here are used to having herbal and organic methods to certain illnesses. They've got a stick or a root or a seed or a powder or a leaf that cures pretty much everything. And so there's been a disconnect when it comes from that type of lifestyle to the now, the prescription pharmacy, pharmaceutical, medical lifestyle. So there is a disconnect there, right? Some people don't want to leave the traditional stuff. Some people are trusting the other stuff more. They're not fully understanding a lot of the implications of those kind of pharmaceuticals. And then in the healthcare systems, there still is a lot to be improved in the quality of, say, for instance, like billing and coding, medical administration, keeping up with health records. These kind of things are slow to improve here. I think another thing I said, like the tech boom, when that comes, that's one of the things that I'm sure will improve the quickest. Because, you go into a hospital here, they pretty much write everything down in a book. There's no computer or internet on site. So, that makes you think like, man, this is, this is it's a little ancient, So there's definitely improvement necessary in that field. I tell a lot of my clients, especially in medical, if you have skills in improving medical administration and things like that, holler at us and let's see how we can get you invested here on the ground. We know African Americans who built clinics here. We know African Americans who are running, schools and these types of things. If you have those skills, hit us up and we'll get you involved so that you can be the one that makes that improvement.
Okay. And is it more, I mean, I know you have 4G and 5G is just hitting here and I'm sure it's going to hit worldwide, but do you think it's an internet issue or is it just a systems issue where sometimes I say the old heads got to sit back, retire and let some young blood get in there and show you how to be more efficient using this technology and AI?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I mean, it's probably not internet connectivity. If anything, it's probably internet cost. So a lot of businesses and, clinics and this type of things, they opt not to have internet because of the cost. And then a lot of them also are just not really savvy on the tech and the available programs that they could be using. So even if they have internet, they're using it for like minuscule purposes. They're not really using it to the best of the ability. They're not using the proper programs and technology that could advance them. And we see those things a lot here. And sometimes we point them out. Companies and businesses that we work with and consult, we try to make that impact on them and show them different tech options that they can use to improve. But yeah, definitely not the connectivity of internet. Senegal has great internet. Hopefully the 5G doesn't make it. We don't want coronavirus. But everything else is doing well.
There is a lot to be said about that statement. I always think population control, and yeah, I hear you. I could go somewhere with that, but I'm not going to be stereotypical. I don't want to blame one population for something that I think that governments are actually putting into place. And
we'll save that for another show.
Yeah. Because it's right now, that's not our fight, not our issue and nothing. We don't have enough Lysol to douse it away.
Spray them bugs. That's right.
Africa Day is coming. The Olympics is coming. Have you seen the change that you're talking about? Do you think it's because of these events coming? And then after, will it kind of be like South Africa? It was built up. And then after, it's like, okay, we lost our tourists, which happens in a lot of places, actually. I mean, so do you think like with these events coming that Senegal will be built up and will be able to keep those businesses up? And are you seeing people like relocate or say, I want to be a resident once I come? Because that's how you keep people, is their investment in, the houses, the businesses.
Of course. Yeah. So, I mean, the trajectory of Senegal's development is a steady, upward trajectory. Right now, the investment in tourism is huge. But I don't think it's going anywhere anytime soon because Senegal is actively investing in their tourism industry, making ease of access, more accessible here. Transportation is improving, and they're set to open their first fast rail train here in a couple weeks. Improving on even the locations of tourism. I just took guests to the Gorée Island Door of No Return the other day. They've completely reconstructed and refabricated that tourist location. When you get there, you can see the amount of improvement they're making. These kind of things show us that, the investment is going into the industry, and that it shouldn't die anytime soon. Being that we're at the center of the International Decade for the People of African Descent, Senegal has taken that and used it as a catalyst to the future. So in 2022, Senegal will be the first African nation to host an official Olympic Games, the Youth Olympics in 2022. And so they've built an entire city here for the preparation of those games. Huge residential communities, condominiums, apartment complexes, 2 new stadiums. And these things are literally, for that trajectory to continue in the same direction. So, yeah, I don't see it dying anytime soon. I think that Senegal is ready to welcome a lot of expats and a lot of folks here who can contribute economically. And then once you get here, I think you'll find plenty of opportunities to invest in, to where you don't have to leave. You don't really have to, go anywhere else. You can actually make it here.
What does a guide cost per day? And this might be a service that you offer, because a lot of times people say, I go to the Gambia, but Senegal, I want to be around English speakers. It's like anytime you leave the States, you need to adapt, be able to pivot. But what does a guide cost for some of those who say, I'd love to check it out, but I'm going to need, help because all I know is English?
Yeah, I mean, this just depends on, who you pick. Average cost for us anywhere between $55 and $95 a day. Depends on, what that guide comes with. We work with local tourist companies or travel companies that, could include a car and driver, could include, translator, it can include perhaps just your guide for a part of a day. So, it depends. But I'd say, always when coming to a country like Senegal, go ahead and invest in a guide. It'll be the best way to navigate through the local, streets and strategies, right? You got to be able to know the place. It's not somewhere where you just want to be, kind of wandering lost. Have somebody with you that's familiar with the lay of the land, and you'll enjoy yourself a lot better.
And I have to ask you that because I have no idea. And and when those questions come to me, I say out of the 16 plus whatever countries I visited, unless it's, for business, I get lost in a city. I say, make a friend, go. And if you can make a friend, and if she or he, whatever, a guide costs a meal and wherever you go. But I know that's not advisable for everybody to go get lost in a city.
Try to go with somebody reputable. Try to find somebody who, has a reputation for doing it. Here in Senegal, just to plug one of our cool partners, we've got a guy here named Solo. He gives tours, Makaya Travel Tours, and Solo is, English speaker, lived in the States for a while, but he's Senegalese native, and the guy knows his stuff. So he works with us in preparation for our Africa Day project and in other tourism programs, because we always want to connect with and build local businesses. It's not just about us. It's not just about running all of the money into our pockets. We want to be able to effectively put other people in a position to excel in what they love doing. So shout out to my man Solo at Makaya Travel Tours. If you guys looking for a good tour guide here on the ground, hit him up. He's got you.
Man, what business excites you the most? Like, what's one business that you're like, I just love doing this with all the things that you have going on? What's one of your favorites?
I'd say really, my professional focus is media. And one thing a lot of folks don't know about us is we own a considerable amount of media networks, Facebook pages, platforms, websites, etc. And we do a lot of visibility. It's not always just what you see, on our personal pages or things like that. We own a network with nearly 1 million collective followers. We have one network doing about 14 million views a week right now. And we're keeping information spinning about the continent, information spinning about influencers who are impacting the continent and our people. We're keeping information spinning that's uplifting and empowering Black people and Black love and exceptional, individuals in the African space. And that's what I love about media. We often complain about not having our just due on the platforms that have formerly existed, right? We don't see ourselves represented enough. And so being someone who's solution oriented, as I said earlier, our number one solution that we decided to bring was, well, we need our own media, we need our own platforms, we need our own viewers, we need our own content, and then we can control the narrative about our own people in our own homeland. And so that's one of our biggest, or I'd say my, number one claim to fame, if you will, when it comes to this business is the media.
What were those two those two media outlets? Because in my mind, I thought like a Dave Chappelle. What if RJ owned like clansforklansmans.com or something like that? And it was getting all these hits. Like, what are those outlets?
We own Facebook, the Black Kings and Queens Project, with about 260,000 followers. We also own Facebook, That Fly Girl, which is a women and girls empowerment page, promotes the appreciation of natural hair and skincare and women in excellence in business. That page is 180,000 followers. We also own Africa Day 2020. One of our networks online is one of our fastest growing networks, over 100,000 followers, doing millions of views a week, and so on and so forth. Man, we've got tons of them, but they're all used in in the same purpose to keep our kind of media spinning. And so when you have that kind of audience, there's a certain amount of responsibility that comes with it, and we take that responsibility seriously.
No, that's awesome. That's awesome. And that you're giving so much back to the community for 2020. Can you give us a community give back that, it might be something new that you're doing that's benefiting the community? Like, not all of this is benefiting the community, but something that you haven't highlighted that is a community give back. What is that thing?
That isn't a community.
That is, because the whole thing that you're doing, your whole life is about giving back and getting people right. But is there something or a day that maybe it's a day, you could be having a week, a festival? What is another community give back that you have not mentioned?
Man, the list can be long though. We participate with a lot of organizations. Really, like you said, everything we do is about engaging and giving back. Just recently, one of our partner organizations, Help for Humanity, delivered, over 50-pound bags of rice to the people of Medina Bay and Kaolack. It's one of the projects that we work with yearly because of its efforts and how it, impacts the community. So Help for Humanity is one of our partner projects that we work with here. Shout out to Ajib and Haji Hassan and the family at Help for Humanity. Another project that we contribute to yearly, one of the African-American owned schools here does a clinic day every year where they give away free clinic services to hundreds, sometimes thousands of young kids. And we just did that about a week or so ago in Kaolack as well. Shout out to Sayda Kubra Cisse. Every year, she organizes this thing where they bring doctors from the big city. People pitch in to buy medicine and all kind of hygiene. And so we gather all the children from schools around the community. We bring them to one place. We give them free checkups, write them prescriptions if they need, help them with those hygiene materials, clothing, et cetera, et cetera. So we just did that not even 10 days ago here. For the 2020 year in Kaolack, and tons of other stuff, man. It's really just all about staying impactful to the point where we're not wasting time. We're not spending, absorbent amounts of money on, lavish vacations and, up and down the coast and just, for vanity purposes. Everything that we do here is strategically for the sustainable and upward development of our people. Period. Point blank. If it doesn't bring about some positive, sustainable solution for our people, we're not concerned with it. We're not wasting our time with it. We're moving on to the next project. So, yeah.
Well, when you're living in paradise, you don't have to travel the world and try to look like an Instagram model, whatnot, in foreign places, because you can build up your own, which is a
Right.
beautiful, a beautiful thing. And nothing wrong with vacations, folks. I don't want people say, man, this guy, what about, we're not, I like vacation just like anybody else, but I live in rainy Seattle. And
That's
get
right.
me out of here every chance that we can get. Nah, man, RJ, you gave so much game. I wanna leave the people with that. You guys like, share, subscribe. Make sure you visit his website. Make sure that if you really have investment questions and you need help, and you need help, if you don't have help on the ground, you need to join the investment club. Thank you, RJ, for coming on.
Thanks so much, man. Thanks for having me, man. I'm always here for it.
Blessings.